Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. P here. Today, the focus of our lesson is on using quotation marks properly. The reason we need to understand how quotation marks work is because they're very, very helpful in helping us when we're using quotations from sources that will help strengthen our writing, strengthen our essays by providing evidence for our claims. So, first thing we want to talk about is how to properly identify what's called the tagline in a quotation. The tagline is simply who said or who wrote this. So in this example, we have Mr. P said, learning about quotation marks is important. And you'll notice I've underlined and highlighted here that the Mr. P said is the tagline. It tells us who is going to do the speaking or the writing. Now, once we've identified the tagline, the next thing to do is to put quotations around everything that was actually said or written. In this case, the thing that was said or written is that learning about quotation marks is important. And so I'm going to simply put quotation marks around it. Think about when we look at a comic strip, they put a bubble around all the words. Well, these quotation marks are our bubble. Okay. The second thing we need to think about is capitalization and punctuation. Anytime we start a quotation, we need to capitalize the first word. So in this case, that word is learning. So I'm going to go ahead and capitalize the first word. That is always how this is going to work. I noticed I had an error and I just fixed it. Learning about quotation marks is important. The second thing we need to do is to punctuate properly. When we have the tagline at the beginning of the quotation, we need to put a comma right after that tagline. The tagline is always separated from the quotation by some kind of punctuation. Okay, we're almost done. There's one more step. Anytime we end a sentence, what do we need? Some kind of closing punctuation. In this case, it's a period. Now, here's where people make the most mistakes. We need to make sure that our period goes inside of the quotation marks, okay? Punctuation within a quotation always goes inside of the quotation mark. Now, let's take another look. In this case, we have the same sentence, but our tagline, you'll notice, is at the end. So in this case, Mr. P said comes at the end. Okay, so we've identified the tagline. Now it's time to put our quotations around our written or spoken words. Again, learning about quotation marks is important, is what is said. Okay, so then next step, go ahead and capitalize the learning. Again, first word of any quotation is always capitalized. Two more pieces. We need to end our quotation with punctuation. In this case, the very end of the sentence is actually after Mr. P said. So we're going to close it out with a period, and then we need one more piece of punctuation to separate our quotation from our tagline. What did I say? When the quotation is supposed to include punctuation, it needs to go inside of that quotation mark, and then we have a properly punctuated sentence. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you use punctuation to show a quotation with a tagline that comes either before or after the quotation.